Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Signal Sportscast. I'm the host, Marco Alvarado, and today I have a special guest host with me in the studio today. Special guest host, Signal reporter, Michael Velasquez. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
No problem. How we doing today?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. I was actually lucky enough to attend the exhibition game last night with the Space Cowboys and the Astros, and it was fun, man. It was cool, good time. I've never been out there before.
One in Sugarland, right?
Yeah, it was at Constellation Field out in Sugarland. It was a really, really nice stadium, and it's a good time. Full house too. It was really packed.
That's what I'm talking about. So today, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the Houston Astros 2023 season preview. We're going to go over some highlighted marquee games that the Astros will be having here at Minute Maid Park and on the road as well. And we have both of us to talk about it. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Opening day will be this Thursday. Again, opening day this Thursday. The defending 2022 World Series champions will defend their title this upcoming Thursday. I cannot wait. They start here at Minute Maid Park against the White Sox in a 4-game series. We got Framber Valdez versus Dylan Cease. Michael, how do you think that matchup's going to go opening day?
I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think Framber's definitely going to have the crowd behind him. It's crazy how fast baseball season got here. It's nuts that it's this week, but I'm very happy that it is. I think Framber is going to have a great start. I see him going probably 7 innings, hopefully.
I was going to say the same.
And, hopefully his control's there and he can get himself some good strikeouts. I also think Christian Javier is going to have one of the strongest years, probably his best year of his career. I could see him leading the team in strikeouts this year.
Okay, so would you have him coming out the bullpen still, or have him alternate between starter and bullpen?
I think he's a pure starter from this point out. I mean, especially with some of the hits our rotation took, I think he has to be an everyday starter for sure. So
I would put him in the rotation for sure as well. They could go back to a 5-man or a 6-man rotation if they needed to, but I feel like he needs to be in that starting lineup because how many no-hitters did he have this past season?
Yeah.
Especially in the postseason as well.
Yeah, and those strikeout numbers are what really stand out to me, and I think he's going to have a lot of success this year as well.
Listen, if you can't hit off the guy, what's the point of having him come out the pen? Now, if you need to have him out the pen in certain situations, okay, I'm cool with that. But going back to your point, I believe he needs to be a starter as well.
Agreed. And, don't sleep on some of those young arms that we still have in our bullpen. Like last night at the exhibition game, I got to see Abreu pitch, and he looked really, really sharp.
Brian Abreu, that's right. He did pitch in the WBC as well.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't see his stats there, but how did he do there?
He was throwing heat.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looked like he didn't lose a step.
Love to see it.
It looked like he leveled up, no pun intended, but it looked like he did level his game up during this offseason, which is something you want to see because he did have an explosive postseason, this past postseason. The guy's just good. Yeah. That's just hands down.
No, he's good, and he's only getting better, especially with his young age. And,
exactly. So the final roster hasn't been submitted yet. Dusty Baker said that's going to be literally a day before type deal. It could be tonight. Or it could be happening while we're recording. Who do you see making this roster that's not already established, already on the roster, if that makes sense?
Sure. So I think was his guy's Hensley? David Hensley?
David Hensley, yeah.
Yeah. He looked great last night. He had a hit in the game, and he was definitely taking pitches and getting in good counts. So, that's good to see, and I think he's going to he definitely has some big shoes to fill at second base.
For sure.
But I think, will be, the short-term fill-in. I'm not sure if Dubon is going to see some time because I saw he was playing last night as well. Who else? Who are you thinking?
I would say David Hensley for the time being due to Jose Altuve's unfortunate injury that he had sustained in the WBC against their game against the United States whenever he was playing with Team Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter Brown.
Hunter
Brown could make a good case to make the team possibly again.
Definitely. I could see us having 3 catchers.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Corey Lee
and Yanier Diaz.
Yeah.
He actually pinch hit. He hit a pinch hit homer last night.
He had a pretty good, impressive spring training.
Definitely.
From what I've seen and heard. Other people really like Yanier Diaz. And, that could be one of them cats where, he's going to be in the minors for a short time, but whenever his time comes, he's going to make a big splash. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could kind of vouch for Corey Lee because whenever Jason Castro went out, who was there?
Sure.
And Corey Lee, he got some hits, and he caught pretty good games whenever he was here. I think it was that 4th of July weekend against the Kansas City Royals, I want to say, whenever he really made his mark, I guess you could say. He won a World Series ring now.
Sure,
because he was part of that.
And he has a very impressive track history. I think he was one of our top prospects in our farm system.
That's true.
Which is another thing we should probably address. I think it was the MLB who ranked our farm system the 27th in the league, which is pretty low. And I know it has been diminished over the years, and we've called a lot of guys up, but we still do have a lot of talent. Some of that talent I saw.
JC Correa?
JC Correa, he got some bats in last night. Will Wagner was really impressive. Billy Wagner's son. He can play ball, and he's a second baseman as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if.
Now is Forrest Whitley going to make an appearance this season?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd love to see him. I mean, guy throws hard. He's a good pitcher. But that's not up to me.
Injuries really do play a part in this game, and that makes a pretty good reason why he hasn't been able to be called up in the majors.
Definitely.
He's been in the minor league system for quite some time now. A lot of people are anticipating his major league debut, but again, injuries do create setbacks, and we really wish for the best in this situation. I've been looking forward to Forrest Whitley's debut with the Astros out of all this time that he's had with the Astros. I want to go into some key matchups that we have labeled here. So, obviously, we have opening day. We have 2 matchups against the Minnesota Twins. Carlos Correa, yeah. Obviously.
Back in town.
You're right. And then the Astros face the Braves again, 2021 rematch, World Series rematch, but it's going to be in Atlanta. And then that next weekend after Atlanta, they face the Phillies here at Minute Maid.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's all in this
first month.
Yeah, first month of the season. We go into May. The only 2 games that we saw that are really interesting to us was, the White Sox in Chicago, and then Minnesota comes to town. So Correa will be in town in May, the last weekend of May, or the week of May, to be honest with you.
Yes.
We go into June, and this is when things get interesting. You didn't really seem to go crazy for it, but I'm going to make an honorable mention about them facing the Blue Jays. Last year, the Blue Jays were a pretty good matchup, and they won the season series against the Astros.
No, and I think it's important to point out that that stretch alone, I mean, it's going to be Correa. You're seeing Correa at home for the first time. He's coming back to Minute Maid for the first time this season. And then, I don't think we can sleep on Anaheim. Just, I think the hype after the WBC with Trout and Ohtani and Sandoval.
That's if that team can stay healthy, though.
That's very good. There's a very big if. But to go back to it, you got the
Phillies.
No, you got the
Twins.
I'm sorry.
You got the Twins.
Then you got the Angels.
For a 4-game series here at Minute Maid.
Then you got a 4 in Toronto.
And then a 3 in Cleveland. And I'm going to make another honorable mention. Cleveland. They were hot last year.
Yeah.
They got real hot last year. It was real unfortunate how they fell apart in the playoffs against the Yankees, and then the Yankees got swept. Very fortunate. But going back to the task at hand, these are some pretty tough matchups the Astros have in this situation here.
I'd say the month of June is going to be just tough overall. I mean, you got Toronto, Cleveland, the Mets,
and then the Dodgers
and
LA.
St. Louis.
And St. Louis.
I mean, that's a tall order for any team.
So June's going to be action-packed. Again, they face the Mets here at Minute Maid Park June 19th through the 21st. Are we speculating Justin Verlander makes an appearance this series?
I hope so. It'd be great to see him back. I'm really interested to see what the crowd reaction would be. I'm sure it'd be praise, just from his great years here.
From 17 all the way up to 22.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's going to be weird seeing him in a different uniform for sure. I mean, it was already weird seeing him in spring training with the
Mets gear. That's so weird. So with the day break in between the Mets series, they go to LA and they face LA, the Dodgers.
Yes.
In LA. Now the last time the Astros faced the Dodgers, it was last season in Los Angeles, and they won the season. They won the series, I believe, or did they tie with it? I'm thinking of 2021 when they went, or 21. It was 21 because they faced 2 games here and then they had 2 games over there, and I believe they split the series. I think that they went back and forth here, like one team won one and the other team won the other, and then the same that happened over there in Dodger Stadium. So this time it's going to be 3-game series here in 2023 in Dodger Stadium. Lord knows how that's going to go, huh?
Yeah, no, it'll be an interesting one for sure. I think it'll be good that we're facing them, before the All-Star break towards the beginning of the season. Hopefully we'll have a healthy squad and everyone will be good to go in LA.
That could be a factor. Injuries do play a factor in all this. Then they have a day break and then they go out to St. Louis, like you said. St. Louis is going to be
St. Louis is a talented squad, yeah.
They are. And then we go into the month of July.
Young squad, too.
The month of July, they face things off against the Rangers. We'll dive into the AL West matchups here pretty soon. No games really catch my eye in the month of July. They had the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, I think kind of things get kind of turned up.
I think I think Seattle's definitely going to be a threat this year. I think they're a young, very talented team. They just got Teoscar Hernandez as well, who is an ex-Astro, and he loves to swing the bat.
He played for the Astros?
He did, yeah.
Oh, he did. I forgot about that.
He did before he went to Toronto.
That's right, he did. Wow, that's memory unlocked. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I remember now.
Yeah, Teoscar can ball, so definitely don't sleep on him.
So the matchups in July consist of the Rangers, the Rockies, Mariners, Angels, the A's, the Rays, and the Guardians. So a bunch of AL West heavy matchups in the month of July. We go into August, marquee matchups that we highlighted. Then the Yankees in New York for 4 games.
Yeah, that's going to be quite the series. I do have some buddies that are already planning their trip out there, and it's going to be a crazy trip.
I'm planning.
Yeah, oh, you are?
Yeah, I am. I'm planning.
Nice.
So, and then you wanted to do an honorable mention of the Orioles. The Orioles.
I think the Orioles are going to be a sneaky team this year.
They were solid last year.
They were solid last year. They made a lot of reconstruction at Camden Park. People thought their hitters weren't going to be able to produce, but Anthony Santander's coming off his best year hitting, and and
Cedric Mullins as well in the outfield.
Cedric Mullins is doing great. They got Mountcastle, so I think they're going to be a sneaky good team, especially if they can get their pitching bolted down.
For sure. Another highlighted matchup we have is going to be a 3-game series in Miami. We both know who just signed a contract to be in Miami. Hopefully he's on the roster.
We do.
But Yuli Gurriel will be out there. But other than that, Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Yes.
A dog.
I mean, the guy made the cover of the show. It's got to mean something, right?
You're telling me. Who else does Miami have? Do you know off the top of your head?
What?
That's a great question. I feel like we're missing somebody out of that bunch. But either way, Miami, that's another. I can kind of throw them in that hat of the Orioles. They're a sneaky team that can make a solid case for themselves.
Definitely.
And they could possibly make the wild card this year.
I mean, it's definitely not unheard of. Luis Arias signed with them, and he is a masterful hitter. Sandy Alcantara is a dominant pitcher. They got Juan Segura at shortstop.
So again,
John Birdie.
It's one of those teams where, hey, be on the lookout for this team because they can make some noise down the stretch after All-Star break. Because we both know All-Star break, that's when everything turns up.
Definitely. And the trade deadline,
That's true.
That's when stuff gets pretty
So
elevated.
also in August, the Astros are going to have a 4-game series against the Boston Red Sox here at Minute Maid, and then they go out to Fenway that next week for 3 games. I don't see Boston as a threat anymore.
I don't think they're as threatening as they were in the past few years at all. But it's always a show when the Sox come to town.
That's true. The Red Sox, of course.
Sure, of course.
We go into September, and beginning of September, we have a 3-game series against the New York Yankees here at Minute Maid.
We do, yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's always crazy when New York comes to town as well, but I think that's gonna be a much more competitive series, and I think the implications being so close to the end of the year are gonna have a big, impact on the playoff scene.
Fun fact: last year the Yankees never won a game at Minute Maid.
No, let's keep it going.
They never won a game at Minute Maid. That's including postseason as well.
I will say I'm also looking forward to in September when San Diego comes. I'd love to see Joe Musgrove back on the hill at Minute
Joe
Maid.
Musgrove, Fernando Tatis Jr., who's probably going to be playing this season as well.
Sure.
If he's healthy. Manny Machado.
I think Manny Machado's going to have a good year.
Eric Hosmer.
Oh, yeah, Hos.
Hosmer. That boy can hit.
Don't sleep on Hosmer.
Yeah. I believe Yu Darvish is still on that squad as well. Blake Snell.
Mm-hmm.
He's still on that squad as well. So it's Slam Diego, as they call it. They can hit whenever they want to hit.
They can.
So be on the lookout for them. They will be coming to Minute Maid Park.
I think you're forgetting someone, though, by the name
Big
of
three.
Juan Soto.
Ooh, forgot about that guy. Fun fact, I used to call him the future of him.
Oh, wow. They also have Xander Bogaerts.
That's right. They signed them this past offseason.
And Nelson Cruz. Wow. They are going to be Josh Hader. We forgot that he got traded there. I mean, San Diego is going to be a squad.
So that's a 3-game stunt here at Minute Maid Park. Then the Orioles come to town, which is the team that you want to keep your eye on. And then they end the season against the Diamondbacks in Arizona.
So I think what's interesting about the end of our season is that, in the past few seasons we finished pretty division heavy. And if you notice in the last month, we have 2 division series, one against Seattle and one against, 3 rather. Seattle, Oakland, and Texas. But in the past,
I call them Dallas.
Yeah. Okay, Dallas.
Because they're not the only team in Texas.
For sure.
If the Marlins had to change their name, why
That's
can't
fair.
them?
That's fair.
It's true. But yes, I understand where you're coming from. It's usually AOS heavy, but we only face the teams. We don't even face Seattle in the last month. Oh, we do.
We do, yeah.
Out there, I didn't see that. So yeah, we do face Seattle. So it's AOS heavy, but not AOS heavy at the same time. Because we usually face teams within the 2 weeks of the season ending. So I definitely see where you're going from there. But touching on the AOS, how do you feel about where the standings are going to be at? Is it going to be the same as last year? Is there going to be some significant change? Because remember, the Rangers added Jacob deGrom. And, Seager's going to make himself presentable. But them two can't carry the load for the Rangers. The A's blew it up, so I don't see them doing anything else other than being the A's. Seattle can make a good case for themselves. They just added Teoscar Hernandez to what you said, and then they roughly have the same squad as they did last year.
I mean, I think the Rangers, they do have a little more talent than we give them credit for. Marcus Semien.
Marcus Semien signed with them last year.
They signed Robbie Grossman. I love Robbie Grossman. He's a scrappy guy. He can play almost anywhere, and he's an aggressive batter. Martin Perez is coming off an amazing year.
Martin Perez.
If he can do that, keep pitching like that, I think they're in good shape. Nathan Uvalde, they signed him. Adolis Garcia.
How can we forget about that guy?
Great talent. So I don't think they're fully there yet, but I think they have a good blueprint. I think they've made some great signings this year, so they're definitely going to be more competitive than they have been in the past.
Now, do you think they can compete with the Stros for the Lone Star Series?
That I don't think. No, I still think we are king of the hill. Okay.
So, overall, where do you see the Astros finishing at the end of 2023?
I think we are going to win the division. I could see us winning probably 101 games.
Okay.
So, I like, my biggest concern is obviously health, as it is every year. You want to see Altuve come back as quick as possible, but you don't want to rush him back. And I just, I hope our young pitching can dominate and keep their momentum going.
That's true.
From
now,
spring.
Another question this is probably going to be the last question I have for you. Do you see Dusty Baker being the manager next season?
I think win or lose, he might call it. Did he sign a multi-year contract?
He signed a 1-year extension.
1-year extension, okay. So I think he really is trying to go for the back-to-back, which is very hard to do in any sport. But I think he's going to try to get the back-to-back, and if not, he's just going to call it. And if he does, he'll call it and go out on top. So I think regardless, this is it for Dusty. That's just my opinion.
Okay, cool. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, opening day is this Thursday, March 30th. The Astros will kick off things against the Chicago White Sox at Minute Maid Park. They will unveil the 2022 pennant, which will be on the train tracks, the scaffold where the light's at. That's going to be very exciting. They're also going to be debuting the Gold Rush jerseys for the first 2 games on the 30th and the 31st. And then it's back to our regularly scheduled programming after that, as far as uniforms and game-wise. So baseball season's here, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it locked in on here for all your sporting needs. You can follow us at UHCO The Signal on social media. And shout out to our new magazine, The Spectacle, that's going to be hitting the shelves and online here pretty soon. This has been an episode of the Signal Sportscast. I'm the host, Marco Alvarado.
And I'm Mike Velasquez.
And we will catch y'all later.
Go Stros.
Go Stros, baby.